everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, an important discussion, Dan,
We have a message.
about hatred in this world.
And
Dan.
about like, not contributing to it.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
We don't need to do that. We got a whole thing.
Yeah, that's for the believers, Dan.
Hatred is for the believers. Let us leave it aside. Set a good example.
Yeah. We're supposed to be, sort of enlightened? Are we supposed to be enlightened?
Man, do we talk like we are. The whole atheist community just loves to talk like we know everything there is to know.
Yeah. I feel like I'm enlightened.
So snooty.
Do you feel like...
I mean, here's the thing.
I hate the idea of being enlightened.
Oh, my God.
Just start self-applying that word.
Right, yeah.
Like,
I expect all of our listeners to call us, you and I, enlightened, but we would never self-apply.
Jesus Christ. I don't think that's not happening anytime soon.
No,
They've listened to the show, Dan.
That's true.
They're aware that we're not enlightened.
Oh, they know. They've been informed.
Need not say anything about it. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed my cheeks, Dan. My cheeks and my neck.
Just pillowy soft and
Oh my God.
and
all shaved down.
well groomed.
Well groomed.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we had somebody write into us and remind us that it can be helpful to spell harrys.com.
Oh, okay. Is there something else out there?
Because we're talking about something that's to do with hair.
Oh,
and you may not want to spell it Hairies or something like that.
Okay.
Harrys.com. Harry, as in the name, Harry. Harrys.com is our sponsor.
Yeah.
And they, so it's a shaving club.
Yeah.
A subscription service. You sign up. When you do, you sign up you get a free, a bunch of free stuff. You get a free kit. So that you can try it out, make sure that it's what you like. Mm-hmm. We know you will. Mm-hmm. You get the precision engineered 5-blade cartridge.
Yeah.
You get the ergonomic handle. We love it.
Right.
You get the shave gel.
It smells wonderful.
It smells wonderful.
It works great.
And just glides that.
Yeah.
I will remind our listeners that you had the experience of thinking this can't be any good. It's not pulling on my hair.
Right.
It's not. I don't
it's
feel
so comfortable.
It's too smooth.
Yeah.
It can't be working.
And that's not true.
That is not how that works. If it's gliding nicely and easily, that means it's better.
Yeah. No. I feel like I've experienced less irritation.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a promise that we're allowed to make, but like that's been my experience.
That's your experience. I think you're likely to feel less irritation with these things. But go to harrys.com, harrys.com/TGIAtheist. That's how you get the free kit. Mm-hmm. They set you up with the free kit. You also get a little travel thing over it. If you like it, you just stay signed up, and they send you. They just send you a blade when you need it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't ever have to worry about, crap, this thing's getting dull.
Right.
Because the second it does, boop, there's a new one in the mail.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then if you don't like it, just cancel. And you're out nothing. You're out shipping.
Yeah.
You just pay for shipping, and you get it all for free.
You can afford shipping. And
you help out your favorite Frank and Dan.
Yeah, so, tell them how they can do that.
So Dan. You just go to harrys.com/TGIAtheist. No, TGIA. Just TGIA.
Wow, Dan.
And that'll do it. harrys.com/TGIA. Sign up there, and you're good to go.
Indeed you are. Dan.
Yes, sir.
I've got a story about some vandalism.
Uh-oh.
Vandalism of a mosque.
Oh, dear.
This is unfortunately a theme that is out there at the moment.
Oh,
There's a lot.
They love to do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
the scared Christians.
Oh, yeah.
And scared, I don't know. What are they scared of? New people in the neighborhood?
Muslims.
Who maybe they look a little different. Maybe not, though.
A new
really scary.
Islamic center popped up in my neighborhood, or near my neighborhood.
Where?
Oh, just over by the overpass.
I'll have to keep my eyes open.
Yeah, you can kind of see it.
Keep my eyes on it.
Yeah. Keep
when
your
I'm driving by.
Watch.
Is it in an existing building, or did they build something new?
They built something new. It looks like.
No way.
Yeah, but it's tucked away. It's hard to find. Anyway,
I'll ask more about it on my way out.
Yeah.
Because I do want to go see it. I want to gawk. Anyway,
you want to vandalize it is what you want to do.
No, I actually don't. Up in Minnesota, it initially strikes you as almost funny.
Okay.
But it's not. A mosque was vandalized with bacon.
Oh, they've been doing this.
Yeah.
We've been seeing this.
It rolls off the tongue, and it sounds funny. It's not.
They think it's so hilarious.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll tell you why it's not funny. You're wasting bacon.
And you know what?
Perfectly good bacon.
A member of the community of the mosque that was vandalized with bacon, she actually makes the same point. She went on Twitter. She was like, instead of throwing bacon at our mosque, why not cook it up and serve it to some hungry families in Rochester who do eat pork products? What a waste of money and food. She doesn't comment on how delicious it is, but she probably doesn't. She probably doesn't know how delicious it is.
It's tricky.
So this happened in, I just said it, Rochester, Minnesota.
And sorry, you mentioned that did they throw it at the mosque?
No, the pictures, they might have thrown it. The pictures. So you also have this image of just like, oh, bacon, mosque. That I don't know, in a different universe, maybe funny. But then you see like animal bits, sort of. It is just bacon out of a package, but fatty, meaty tissue in a clump on the doorstep. It's kind of actually a disturbing image. It's like it would take you if it was on your doorstep, you'd be like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, it's
right?
gross.
And then of course it's being used as a means to intimidate these
right.
good folk.
The idea here is, for those who don't know, is that the Muslims don't eat pork. They don't touch pork. It's something that they feel is unclean and against their religion.
Right.
So ha.
Right.
Now you can't. I put it on your doorknob. Now you can't even open the door to your own mosque. Ha.
Yeah, like it's not going to get picked up, like it's not going to get wiped down.
Like it means anything. But they know what it means. What it means is we hate you and you're not welcome.
Right. Now, interestingly enough, the incident is being investigated as a crime of bias. Minnesota does not have a hate crime law, so this cannot be tried as a hate crime law.
But do they have crime of bias laws? How is that different?
I have no idea.
That's the same thing.
But anywho. Strips of bacon and even entire pig heads have been dumped outside mosques in places like Florida, Nebraska, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Oklahoma. And this, of course, is not the first mosque that's been vandalized in Minnesota. Last August, Bloomington, Minnesota, there was a pipe bomb.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, it did a little damage, didn't hurt anybody, thank God. But this is we're going to be getting to more of this coming up. We already teased it.
Oh, for a sec, I thought you were saying we were going to get to more violence and.
No, the second half of the show.
Okay, right. You and I are going to be talking about this some more.
Yeah.
So
we'll get more into some of the details.
It's ugly and stupid. Don't participate, listeners. If you were interested in doing it, don't. But our listeners are awesome and don't do that. So, I don't know. But we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
I'm going to take us to Lufkin, Texas, Angelina County, Texas, where there was a recent hubbub. Thank God they've restored the tax forms there to their previous incarnation.
Oh.
The tax forms used to say, "In God we trust," right at the top of the tax form, which is legal, has stood many legal tests in this country because it happens to be our national motto, because everybody's an idiot. But a new tax. What is her title? County tax assessor / collector.
Oh.
Decided to create a new form, and she thought, well, if that's a good motto, why don't we throw a different motto? I'll throw my motto on. I'll throw my own stamp on it.
Oh no.
So she changed it to "Believers serving our citizens."
What?
Now here's what's okay. Here's where this goes off the rails. This created a hubbub. There was a stir, but it was the wrong stir. The local sheriff in town, Greg Sanchez, took to Facebook and just wanted to start a conversation about how it was wrong to take "In God We Trust" off of these forums.
Oh boy.
Because I think most people thought that she was actually trying to be nicer to those who don't believe the same as them. She was not.
No.
She just thought she got to do her own motto, whatever she wanted. And that's the one this is a woman who in her government office has a cross hanging on the wall and a big picture that says something about I don't know, some religious thing or other.
Right,
okay. And there was a big hubbub. Put "In God We Trust." It doesn't even have the word God on it anymore. Everybody was mad about the wrong things.
Oh my God.
Nobody was making the actual appropriate comment, which was maybe there should be no religious message at all on fucking tax forms.
I don't think there really needs to be a message.
No message.
Nothing that you put on there could possibly make me feel better about paying my taxes.
Have a nice day doesn't help anything either. So how about you just give me a form and I'll just pay my taxes.
Easy enough.
It doesn't have to say anything.
Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah. So apparently
she should have just put "believers,"
right?
For helping our community or whatever.
Yeah. Well, then she's in trouble because that's about a Canadian.
Ew.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Fuck that kid.
Those guys are gross. She her defense, Billy Page, the tax assessor / collector, what she said after the big Facebook dust up was, "We're believers in Jesus Christ here. It was a misinterpretation of what I meant, and it got out on Facebook, and a bigger deal was made out of it than was necessary."
I bet not all of you are believers in Jesus.
God,
not all of you.
If any of
I'd
you
be
are,
shocked.
if any of our listeners are in Angelina County, and it's likely that somebody is,
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry that you live there. That sucks.
Well, sorry that you have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I know nothing about the place.
You and I drove
could be a
through
really nice
Texas
place to live.
You and I drove through Texas.
I have a wonderful community, Dan.
We saw what it's all about. Like, Texas has, everywhere you drive, something says Jesus-y, Jesus on it.
I know.
It's a pain in the ass.
It's almost so much. It's the whole you're gonna wear it out thing,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You really are. Like,
you know what?
It kind of turns into white noise.
It's wore out.
Yeah.
It's done.
This
wore
whole
out.
Jesus belief, crosses everywhere, bleeding Jesus, billboards with his thorny, bleedy face, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you just start ignoring it when you live in that part of the world. And so now, is that what they want? They don't want you ignoring Jesus. I don't know. I don't know how much you could really ignore all that crap, but you do tune out a lot of it.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure if you live there, you do.
Well, in Oklahoma, I used to tune out a lot of it.
Yeah. You just don't even notice it after a minute.
Blah. All right. Well, Pope Watch, Dan.
Pope Watch.
Seems like we always are talking about the Pope. But the Pope keeps saying things.
Well, that's his job.
And
He's
sometimes
definitely going to say some
he
stuff.
says something we agree with, and other times he says something that we don't like.
Sure.
And this time it's actually something that I agree with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He is admonishing the countries, the wealthy countries of this world, to take as many refugees as possible. He's trying to fight this trend that is bubbling up here in the United States, in various European countries.
We don't do refugees
that we've talked
here.
about. He says he took some questions from journalists while on the Papal plane.
Sure.
Air Pope.
Vatican One.
He says each country must do this with the virtue of government, which is prudence, and take in as many refugees as it can, as many as it can integrate, educate, give jobs to. I think that's absolutely right. We're living through a flood of refugees who are fleeing war and hunger. The article goes into some of the conditions that the North African refugees that are flooding in. They are taking these horrendous boat rides across the Mediterranean, trying to get, namely, to Italy.
Right.
He says
risking life and limb.
Yeah. And so these human traffickers in Libya exploit migrants passing through, Libya is kind of in a little bit of chaos at the moment. Yeah. Migrants who are stopped in Libyan waters are often turned back and sent to detention centers in Libya where they face execution, torture, and open slave markets.
Great. Wow.
So, I mean, to be risking that,
right?
The situation that they are fleeing elsewhere in North Africa
is
must
horrendous,
be horrifying.
Yeah,
and we know that it is. And he says this is what he tweeted about this. He says a person's dignity does not depend on them being a citizen, a migrant, or a refugee. Saving the life of someone fleeing war and poverty is an act of humanity.
Yeah. Not only that, but let's not forget that, so the Trumpites of this world have forgotten the fact that if you welcome someone in and help them, they become a productive, awesome member of our society. I think it was pointed out, somebody pointed out that a huge percentage of America's Nobel Prize winners are immigrants.
Oh, wow.
Are people who came from another country.
Yeah.
We do better when we enfranchise people from other countries.
Yeah.
It enhances our culture.
Yeah.
We get better. We get more foods. We get benefits.
If
they contribute to society.
And if all you want and if all you're into is just more interesting restaurants in your community, there's that.
Sure. But there's so much more. I mean, let's face it. It's not like Trump is going to experiment with Lebanese.
No. He's going to stick to his McDonald's. That's
but
fine.
I will say this: when you enfranchise, the whole community gets improved.
Absolutely.
When you make them feel less than, when you make them feel outsider, when you disenfranchise, you create terrorists. You create ill will in the world, and ill will breeds more ill will.
Yeah.
And then you create enemies.
Yeah.
So those are your options. It feels like the choice is easy. It feels like that should be an easy choice.
I know. I don't know, though, Dan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. I'm going to move on to the Great White North, up in Canada, where a man... two men were arrested. These were former leaders of a fundamentalist Mormon sect in Canada.
Yeah, that's right. They have those.
They do. We only think about them here in the States.
We're mainly concerned with the cult here in downtown Salt Lake, not so much.
We have, but don't let it be said that Utah doesn't have exports, because we...
Cultural exports at that.
That's right. We sent some up north. We sent some down south.
Oh, yeah.
Which is where we get Mitt Romney's family from.
Ugh.
But apparently some fundamentalist Mormonism is thriving up in Canada. It's not. So here's the thing. Canada, just like the United States, has laws against polygamy. which these fellas were not and did not obey. Were not obeying, continue not to obey. Winston Blackmore and James Oler are the two fellas, each found guilty in British Columbia of 1 count of polygamy, which is odd because between them they have 29 wives. So which is the one that's not okay is what I'm wondering about.
Maybe it just doesn't matter. I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that they are engaged in polygamy.
Yeah, I guess so.
You don't get them for wife 2, wife 3, wife 4, wife 5. That maybe it's not all.
Or maybe they're just not trying. I don't think they're trying because both of these guys got house arrest.
Oh, God.
Blackmore, who's 61, was sentenced to 6 months a 6-month conditional sentence served under house arrest, and then 1 year of probation. Oler got 3 months and probation. Blackmore, by the way, has been prolific with these wives.
Oh?
Siring 149 children.
Oh, my God.
Now, how he can afford to clothe and feed 149 children, I will never know. They must be making money.
Maybe they get some of those that $32 billion. Not to complicate matters.
What are you talking about?
The church's holdings.
Oh, right. No, that's a different church. That is. It doesn't feel like it is, but those are entirely different religions.
I know. Maybe they feel responsible.
Maybe.
They did start it all.
Oh no, they'd rather keep that.
Yeah,
that money.
True. That's theirs.
Yeah, these guys. Both of them married underage girls.
I don't think get them for that.
This is what bothers me. You know, it doesn't bother me at all if adults want to marry in configurations that don't make sense to my brain. I don't care. You know, if consenting adults decide, well, yes, I'm a man and I want to marry 42 women, or I'm a woman and I'm fine being one of 42 wives.
But you are so far down that slippery slope, Dan.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm 100%.
You don't wear that?
I don't care. I'm not. Look, I'm okay with adults deciding to marry each other.
Okay.
And if they're gay or if they're straight or if they're bi or if they're poly, it doesn't matter to me. But it matters to me if they marry underage people. That's compelled.
No, clearly.
And that's what people should be outraged about. 10 of Blackmore's wives were 17 at the time.
Ugh.
3 were 16 and 1 was 15. He had a 15-year-old
You
that
said
he
3
married.
were 15. Or 1 was 15.
1 was 15.
1 was 15. Wow.
3 were 16.
Good Lord.
I mean, it's just, come on. The other ones, one could argue whether or not they were compelled by their sort of religious leaders, by the brainwashing that happens in religion all the time. That can be argued. And reasonable people may disagree. No one reasonable can disagree with the fact that you can't, that a 15-year-old can honestly make the decision to marry for life. That's an unreasonable position to take. They cannot consent.
Time and all eternity, Dan.
Right? All eternity. I consent to marry. I am 15, and yes, I consent to marry you, 45-year-old or whatever.
Yeah. Forever.
For eternity. I totally have the capacity to make that call.
And you said 29 wives?
20 between
right?
the two of them.
Oh, okay.
29 wives.
Wow. Good
Just
Lord.
insane.
All right. Well, Dan. Jim Carrey. He's
another Canadian.
Another Canadian.
Yeah.
He is something of an artist. We've talked about his art on the show before.
He does art.
He paints.
I saw a video of him painting one time. He paints like a wealthy person. He just has gallons and gallons of very expensive paint that he just liberally just sort of drizzles over everything. Anyway, it's interesting to watch a wealthy person paint.
Right, because it's a different experience.
It's a different thing.
Yeah. So Jim Carrey, no fan of Donald Trump.
No.
He does not like the man. He actually has painted other things of Donald Trump.
Sure.
So just this last week, he shared a new painting that depicts Donald Trump crucifying Jesus Christ.
Oh.
It's actually pretty well done, I have to say. I mean, it's not like a great piece of art.
Sure.
But but you can tell it's Donald Trump, and you can tell it's Jesus. And so anyway, so you kind of see the crown of thorns in the foreground, right? And you're kind of raking across the top of Jesus's face, and then there's the hand with a big nail in it, and blood just flowing down.
Oh,
and Donald Trump with this angry, horrifying, look on his face, hammering away at the nail. And he's so the caption. This is what, according to, Carrey's. These are the words that Carrey's putting in Trump's mouth.
Sure.
Jesus was a loser, a failed carpenter. He's a savior because he was crucified. I like people that weren't crucified.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty.
Carrey also includes a voter registration link. He's doing the Lord's work here. Actually, he's making these horrifying images of Donald Trump, getting some press doing it, getting attention doing it.
Yeah,
and it's all part of a voter registration and get out the vote effort to try to stop the Trump administration during these midterms as much as possible by getting Democrats in office, and then hopefully getting the man out of office in 3 more years
or before.
Yeah, I would love that.
That'd be great too.
That would be awesome. There are people working on that too.
Either way, yeah. Well, there you go. Any way we can get at it, I'm okay with Jim Carrey making paintings.
It's the best thing Jim Carrey's done in a long time.
Oh my goodness, the paintings. I'm going to take us to Israel.
Woo!
Where Israeli airline El Al has made an announcement.
The Al. Is that what that means?
No.
El Al?
I think El may actually mean God.
No.
In Hebrew.
Really?
Yeah, as in Israel.
Oh.
Might be. I'm not. Somebody's going to tweet something at you.
I think I know his name too.
Anyway, or we'll just hear from Rabbi Gruber.
That's what I'm saying.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Anyway, El Al has finally come to a thing. They've been breaking the law. And they've done it a number of times. I did not know that this was a law. This was a law that was passed fairly recently.
An Israeli law.
An Israeli law.
Okay.
In 2017, a Jerusalem court ruled that the airline is prohibited from asking women to move to another seat because ultra-Orthodox men don't want to sit next to them.
Oh.
There was an occurrence just a couple months ago. This just continues to happen. They want to cater to their ultra-Orthodox male clients, and these guys go to crazy extremes to not sit next to or to not experience. It's cooties. They're afraid of cooties.
Well, this is the famous picture of the guy with the
plastic
dry cleaner bag.
Yeah, he put a plastic bag over his whole self as a condom, as a prophylactic,
as a life condom
against the estrogenic nightmare that was next to him.
Yeah.
These guys will sometimes go onto planes wearing blindfolds and have to be led to their plane, to their seat, to avoid seeing a lady.
Oh my God!
It's ridiculous.
But I'm assuming that these guys could be asked. They could ask to move, right? Is the onus is put on them now right? Like,
Yeah, but if there's
like
not
you're
a
not
seat
going to ask
available,
the woman to move anymore,
right? But if there's not a seat available that's not next to a woman,
then he's stuck.
then fuck the guy, not the woman. It's
Right.
his problem.
Right.
Either don't fly or get over yourself.
Right.
And finally, that is now officially the El Al policy,
Right.
so they say. Now, the thing that actually made a dent, it appears, is that a man named Barak Ilam, who's the CEO of a company called Nice Systems, which is one of Israel's largest tech companies, decided that if they don't change their policy, they're just going to boycott the airline.
Oh.
Which, way to live up to your company's name.
Yeah.
If you're called Nice Systems,
yeah.
that's very nice. Well done. Ilam said, at Nice, we don't do business with companies that discriminate against race, gender, or religion. Nice will not fly El Al Israel Airlines until they change their practice and actions discriminating women. So that's nice. It's nice. You can't not say it.
It's hard to avoid.
Yeah.
Notice my silence.
Yes, indeed. There you go. Maybe they'll actually stop being dicks to women.
No.
I mean,
No.
at least overtly.
Right. Lord.
There was a Shoshana Jaskol, co-founder of of Hebrew words that I can't pronounce, but it's a women's organization that fights extremism in Judaism.
Yeah.
Said El Al's decision, and let's hope it stands. I think reasonable skepticism on her
Yeah.
part.
Okay.
Came after a high-tech giant threatened to boycott over discrimination. It should have come after complaints by women at being expected to move. It should certainly have come after the courts deemed it illegal to make someone move because of their gender.
Wow.
Nonetheless, it's important because we must all push back against the increasing extremism that parades as religion.
I know.
Yeah.
The world we live in.
Yeah.
And it's all religions. Why?
Man, religious extremism is cancer.
And it's just bubbling up. Man.
Oh, and it breeds and it bounces off of itself. It feeds itself. Religious extremism in Christianity spills out as hatred against the Jews, and that foments Jewish religious extremism, which has hatred against the Muslims, and then everybody gets to hate everybody, and then bombs. That's how that works.
No more.
No more.
Come
anyway,
on,
kids, if you would like to comment on this or any of our stories so far, write into us. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click that like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in. And also, there's something new, guys.
What?
You're going to want to hear this. What? Look for the TGI Atheist subreddit. If you're on Reddit, you know how to get to the various subreddits. Just go.
TGI Atheist. We just started it.
TGI Atheist. I'll be moderating over there, and we'll see how that goes.
We'll see what happens.
So we'll be posting show notes and articles that are sort of related to what we're talking about in that week's show.
And all kinds of craziness.
And then you guys come on, comment, and bring up the issues that you want to be bringing up and share stories and blah, blah, blah. So there'll be that as well. Dan.
Yes, sir.
Rick Wiles.
Oh, we love him.
Yeah.
He's a treat.
He's been a nut job that we've been featuring on the show lately.
That's a poison well we go to all the time.
Well, he's just he doesn't disappoint.
No.
Right? Like you can Pat Robertson disappoints. There are weeks when he just doesn't really step in it, right?
And every now and then he's downright reasonable, and that just ruins everything.
And the nut job with the buckets of food, Jim Baker, he's, sometimes it's just weird. It's not necessarily that offensive.
Those poor scathing / god-awful movie boys, they bought a bucket. They had to eat it.
Oh, dear God,
for a patron thing.
No. All right. So he, I didn't even know how to introduce this. He's on the topic of abortion. He's got really good, solid information for all of us.
Judgment's coming. And don't think because Donald Trump's in the White House that's going to save us. That's not going to save us. We're still murdering over 4,000 babies a day. Still killing them every day. Let me ask you, America, when they slaughter a little baby in a Planned Parenthood baby butcher shop, where does that baby's blood go? Where does the baby's brains and guts go? Tell me where it goes. I'll tell you where it goes. It goes down the drain into the sewer system. And the blood of those babies is running through your town's sewer, under your street. The sewage pipes in your city carrying the blood, the guts, the brains, the tissue of all the babies murdered in your city today, going right into your city sewer system. You're actually drinking. You're drinking the baby's blood, being recycled and going right back into the city water supply. Cannibalism.
The level to which he is just uninformed is
it's not just being uninformed is one thing. Lots of people are uninformed.
Yeah.
Deciding that you're not uninformed. Just here. Actually,
Dan, let's be honest. The man is just flat out lying, and
he's just lying. He knows he's lying.
He knows he is lying, and that makes it even worse. It's just a disgusting little tale.
Right. Well, and let us assure you, listeners at home, no, the blood does not go into the sewer.
No.
And also, where is he getting the idea that, then we're somehow drinking the sewer blood?
Because we drink sewer water, Dan.
Well, I know I do, but most people don't. That's not the water supply.
No.
Actually, there are a couple of places where they do have a really good water. They actually recycle the water directly from the sewer. They purify it and put it back into the water supply, and it actually works great. But that's not what he's talking about.
Right.
What he's talking about is Weirdo Land, Bizarro World, where things work, where biohazards are disposed of, just sort of
down the drain.
Just flush it. It's
what
fine.
A fucking idiot. I really dislike this man. Right. I find him despicable.
Right.
Because he is just one of those, clearly he says whatever he needs to say types.
Yeah.
And this is just disgusting. Be against abortion if that's what your understanding of the world has led you to. Fine.
Sure.
But be honest about it.
Yeah.
Right? Don't weave tales. Don't muddy the issue in stupid ways.
Right.
That anybody with half a brain can come along and be like, no, you're fucking lying, dude.
Right. Yeah. Hello?
You're a liar.
Look, that's a lie.
Yeah.
What you're doing. But the thing is that a lot of his listeners are willing to believe anything if you say that this is what Planned Parenthood is doing.
Right. Because Planned Parenthood would do anything.
They're run by the devil. First of all, their CEO is Satan himself. Don't believe what you read in the mainstream media about their CEO.
No.
It's Satan.
Yeah.
And he has his ways. He likes to put stuff down the drain. That's just that's how he does it.
And we all live downstream, Dan. And so
right?
It's
downstream from fetuses. That's where we live. Downstream from the fetuses. Just put them in the disposal. They'll crunch up just fine.
Oh god.
Ooh, that was a little rough. That was a little rough. Let's move on quickly from that to some folks have written in, have called into us. We got some people to talk to. Dear Frank and Dan, this is James from Australia.
Oh, hi, James.
I stumbled upon your podcast through your work with god-awful movies. Did you guys hear our god-awful movies?
Oh.
Frank and I were on an episode just the other day, the other week. It was quite good, I thought. And listened to your show in my taxi between fares. I love that.
Great.
As a former Wiccan, I find the subject of Mormonism fascinating, and the two faiths have a few surprising things in common. Both Gerald Gardner and Joseph Smith, I assume Gerald Gardner is the founder of modern Wiccanism,
Sounds like a reasonable.
claimed to have uncovered long suppressed knowledge. Both religions are heavily influenced by Freemasonry, and, as I found out from one of your podcasts, both have a male and female deity. The main differences are that Wiccans are by and large very proud of their goddess, and also embrace all sorts of woo, such as divination and fortune-telling, spell-casting, etc.
Sure.
James also wanted to share this funny anecdote that happened to him while driving someone home from a local pub. He said, upon seeing Thank God I'm Atheist on the screen on the center console of the cab, my passenger asked, isn't that an oxymoron? That's what they're going for, I replied, and I explained that the show features two ex-Mormons which only confused her further.
Aw, poor dear.
It's tricky when you have a play on words as your title.
I know.
Some people don't get it.
So confusing.
Oh, it's so hard. I like to say that it's like that our title is kind of a hand grenade title. You pull the pin on the joke and you throw it, and then 3 seconds later somebody goes, "Oh, I get it." Oh, that's funny.
Look at you guys being clever.
Oh.
All right. I have a voicemail, Dan.
Yeah, play it.
This is from a listener down in Texas. And he has a story to share about related to something that he heard on the show. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it.
Great.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is Chance from Texas, and I just wanted to comment that I grew up reading books very similar, if not maybe exactly like the biology Christian propaganda book that y'all read. We had tests all the way up until my senior year. I went to the same school from K-5 to 12th grade, and we were taught that the Earth was 6,000 years old, that dragons were real and they were dinosaurs and people rode them, and the flood explained everything. And surprise, surprise, that was the first thing to go whenever I started to question my faith. I actually called myself a theistic evolutionist before I called myself an atheist, and here I am now, an atheist. But thanks, you guys, for what you do. You guys are awesome. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Chance.
Thanks so much, Chance. That's there you go. Good stuff.
Yeah, we all have our own path.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some of our paths include parents who indoctrinated us into something pretty
shitty. I mean, so many of us, most of our listeners have been down one of those roads. Every now and then somebody in the members only lounge will be like, I was raised as an atheist. And my response, not online, but my initial response is I was like, well, aren't you special? Great. Because I'm jealous. I don't.
Oh,
yeah.
I know.
Some people were raised wealthy, and some people didn't have to put up with fucking 3 hours of church every week. That's great. I mean, it really is great for them. It's nice.
Sure.
I really am jealous.
We probably wouldn't be doing this show, though.
No.
If we'd been raised atheists, it would have just been like, why would I do a show about atheism?
Imagine all of the time the extra time we would have, because we wouldn't have this show. Doug wrote into us. I'm going to read Doug. Doug says, hi, Frank and Dan. I enjoyed the show. Thank you for that. In episode 342, while discussing a homeschool biology book, speaking of biology book, you mentioned that evolution, because it happened in the past, is relegated to being a theory. This is similar to saying that evolution is only a theory. I don't think that's what we meant to imply, but I think it's good for us to be clear about this. Doug says, a theory, in the scientific sense, is a set of ideas that accurately explains how our world works. Mm-hmm. We know it's accurate because it's continually challenged and supported by testing and observation. Gravity is a theory and always will be. Evolution explains the biological world just as well. Both theories, gravity and evolution, are still developing and subject to amendment as we learn more. Gravitational waves were measured for the first time in 2015. Every time a new fossil or DNA evidence comes to light, it serves to explain evolution further and somehow never contradicts it. Creationists aim to disprove the entire edifice of evolution by undermining individual observations, usually by taking them out of proper context. So anyway, yeah, I think the point that we were making, because this book that we were talking about calls evolution a hypothesis, it doesn't even reach theory levels.
Right.
And yes, the point is, it is the theory, and that's actually impressive. That means that it has passed so much rigor and so much scientific testing, and it always is shown to be correct. So yes, the fact that it is a theory, far from calling it into question, in scientific terms, it makes it solid.
Right. And for the rest of us, no less a fact.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
Yes.
Evolution is factual.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Doug. Do we have some folks to thank?
We do have people to thank, Dan.
We owe our thanks.
Holy shit, we have people to thank.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we have 2 new patrons.
Okay.
On Patreon this week. We have a new faithful listener.
Great.
Spencer. So thank you, Spencer,
Thank you so much.
And then Dana has come in at the venerable level.
Wonderful.
So thank you, Dana. Both these kind folk went to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and clicked on the support tab, followed it over to Patreon, and where they made a pledge of support per episode that we issue.
They chose. Now listen, folks, if you think, here's the thing. For us to even sustain our levels on Patreon, we lose a lot of patrons every week too.
There's a little churn, you know.
You hear us thanking people every week. We need more in order. We could be thanking a bunch of people and still have a net loss.
No, it's possible. Yeah,
so
that has actually happened.
If you feel at all compelled to show some appreciation for the work that we do, we really appreciate it if you would join the legions of beautiful people who are actually helping to keep this damn boat afloat.
Yeah.
And there's one of them that we need to especially thank.
Absolutely. Our top donor, the I like to call her the Archangela.
The Lord and Savior of our whole podcast.
Angela! And
she's our top donor. Still, if anybody wants to take her down,
it is possible.
It is possible to do.
You can do it.
So maybe you're feeling it. Maybe this is the week that maybe next week's the one that Angela goes down. We'll see.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Angela, for everything that you've done, and
amazing.
Thanks to all of our patrons. And let's skedaddle on to the next segment.
Let's go. Okay, Dan, so this world we live in, the wheels are coming off, Dan.
Here's the problem, as I see it. The human world is full of people.
That's the problem with it.
That's the real problem, is that there's so many people, and while we are the most intelligent species our Earth has to offer,
we're not that bright.
We're kind of morons. Pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
And we're not.
Well, we got some smarties who are figuring out some amazing shit all the time.
Yes, and that's how we keep convincing ourselves that we're smart.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, we keep acting like idiots and assholes.
Just because we figure out how to do a thing doesn't mean we figure out how to actually live together,
how to people well,
just be good people.
Right.
This is constant struggle with us.
It's my favorite quote from E. E. Cummings, which is there's a poem called "Humanity, I Love You," and one of the lines is, "Humanity, I love you because you continually find the meaning of life, put it in your back pocket, and sit down on it." And I feel like that's what we do.
Yeah.
And one of the ways in which we are fucking sitting on the meaning of life right now is that we are treating each other insanely badly, and we're separating ourselves out into our tribes because humanity loves its tribe.
I know.
And then we don't question the logic of anything. We don't question the humanity of anything. We just protect our tribe. And in this modern time, in this Trumpian era, it's more important than ever to just expand your tribe to everybody.
Yeah, why not?
You don't have to give up on tribalism. Just make your tribe everybody.
I don't know. There's some people who live in my building, Dan, that
They're in your tribe, Frank. They're in your tribe. They may be the asshole in the tribe, but they're in your tribe.
yeah.
And that's the point. The point is that there are assholes everywhere, and you don't have to like assholes.
Yeah.
But you do have to, like, open yourself up to humanity. And one of the problems that we're experiencing, I was, as I was doing research for the show today, I saw several headlines that just got me worried. One of the headlines at RNS, that's the religion news service, was, "In Europe, religious minorities face mounting hostility and harassment."
Just this week, was it the Netherlands that actually passed a burqa ban? Mm-hmm. They've now joined,
or Denmark,
or maybe it was Denmark.
I think it was Denmark.
It wasn't Netherlands?
I don't know.
Anyway,
one of those places.
They're kind of. They're not really all that close. But anyway.
They're the same thing. Let's just forget it. Look, if you live over there, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Anyway,
but
there
I'm
is
pretty sure they're the
another country in Europe has fallen to this kind of thinking.
Right.
We talked about Austria on the show not too long ago.
Yeah.
And there's just this, well, it's xenophobia, but a hostility that is starting to build toward these communities. I was reading an article. It was a woman, a Muslim woman, living in Vienna.
Right.
I believe that she's an immigrant to Austria, but she's been there for quite some time.
Sure.
And she was talking about how just 10 years ago, she felt like Austria was her home.
Yeah.
And something has changed in the last decade. And she says that, and it's all just what she's reporting back from her community, but that women they all report being looked at very differently. There are long stares. People are focusing their attention
and menacing stares
and focusing their attention on their neighbors who've lived there for quite some time, and it's home.
Ain't hurting nobody. They're just part of the community.
Yeah.
The same thing happens here. I mean, well, now we've got also the Supreme Court of these United States. God bless the Supreme Court of these United States. They just approved Trump's travel ban. They just upheld Trump's travel ban, which is very clearly, he used the term Muslim ban.
I know.
He's trying to ban Muslims, not from the countries that he likes.
Right.
Not from Saudi.
No.
Because, I mean, it's not like they have ever produced any Muslim extremists, or it's not like all of the extremists who fucking did the worst terrorist attack in the history of this country didn't come from Saudi Arabia. It's not like that's the country we should be worrying about, apparently.
Right.
There's no logic to any of this.
No.
This is just hatred lashing out blindly.
Right.
And that's the problem. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up on this show is that for a long time now, members of our community, the atheist community, have blithely and just sort of gleefully said things like, "I hate all religion. I think all religion is terrible," and blah, blah, blah. And people still say that, and they love to say that.
Well, as long as you're talking about the set of beliefs and the worldview and all of that, I like. Okay,
that's easy.
I am very angry at times, especially about Mormonism.
Right.
And I'm sure those words have come out of my mouth about Mormonism.
Well,
but I do not.
And
mean
I
the
agree.
People.
And I agree with
Right.
with Hitchens, who when in his subtitle to his book that said how religion poisons everything. I think religion does poison everything.
Yeah.
I don't think it's useful. I think it's terrible. However,
Yes.
that sort of rhetoric can easily tip, if you're not careful, into like other rhetoric.
I hate Islam easily translates into I hate Muslims.
And if you start to say, well, Islam, well, I mean, if you look at it, Islam is they're the religion that's all about that's causing the most violence, and they're the religion that's blah blah blah. And regardless of the truth of that claim, you're fomenting hatred, and and care is not being taken.
Right.
And the problem is that yes, we should be very, very concerned about terrorism.
Mm-hmm. But it's obvious.
But we need to be as concerned or more about hatred that's happening, because once you start to look at Islam and you start to say, aha, they're the violent ones, they're the terrorists.
Well, it clearly isn't.
It translates to how you see someone walking down the street.
Well, right. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you do that, you're making a horrible error.
Right. Yes. If Islam was strictly just pure violence, if Muslims were all purely violent, right?
If that was the sole goal
of 1.5 billion of them, we wouldn't be able to control them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
If they all were like hell-bent on destroying us, they would have done it long time ago.
Yeah. The whole world would have exploded.
These poor people who are fleeing horror.
Right.
And we are denying them entrance when we formerly had a robust refugee program in this country.
Fuck people fleeing horror. We're not allowing tourists to come in.
Yeah, yeah.
And feed their tourism dollars into our economy.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the asylum seekers that's a huge issue, and it's shameful how the United States of America is currently handling asylum
because
seekers.
Quite frankly, you make a good point. These people, they want to come, they want to be tourists, blah, 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 blah. They probably want to visit family that's here, whatever.
Right.
I am really worried about the people who are living horrifying lives right now. They don't want vacation.
No, and
why can't we let them in?
Right. And they would come here and be solid workers and work hard and like contribute like crazy to our society.
Yes.
That's all they want. They want a society where they can live in peace and contribute.
Yeah.
And we're saying no to them.
Yeah.
And trying to send them all back to places of great strife.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess what I wanted to get to was we as a community of atheists, of free thinkers, of humanists, however you self-identify, cannot contribute to this hatred. Even like if you want to talk about extremism and violence, you have to be careful. We have to be more careful with our words, with our rhetoric, because fomenting hatred, even if you hate what religion does and what it stands for, fomenting hatred against religion translates super quick and super easy to hatred against religious people. And it's unsafe, and it's what's making this world slip into some awful. I mean, this is what creates more violence. And we're less than a century from the last time this bubbled over.
I know.
And it bubbled over nasty.
Yeah. So
this is our call. This is the official Thank God I'm Atheist call for civility, not to people in a restaurant, though that's another thing. The whole Trump calling for civility to whatever.
Fuck that.
Fuck
shit.
all that shit.
Yeah.
Fox News going, oh, be civil. Really? You're going to call us everybody else out for civility? No. This is about watch your fucking language, everybody. Watch your rhetoric. And how about we sow love instead of hatred?
Yeah.
Just work hard at that. Work at engendering love and work at engendering acceptance.
Yeah.
And you don't have to ignore reality to do that.
Right.
All right. That's my soapbox.
Yeah. I don't know if it's enough to turn the tide, Dan.
It's not. It's not. It's not. Look, I'm not even talking about turning tides. I'm just talking about act right.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to.
The fact that other people aren't acting right is not a reason for us to act wrong.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
we should be enlightened.
When they go low, we go high.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No. Look, it's not about them. It's about us and who we are as a people, and it's about like making the right difference.
It's an enlightened message, Dan.
Make the right difference. That's all I'm saying.
It's pretty amazing.
Okay. I love that you're trying to undercut it right now. You agree with this. So giving me shit right now and undercutting it, an interesting tactic on your part. That's all I'm saying. You've gone to an interesting tactic. Oh,
I can't just let it lie.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you too would like to call out Frank for his... or call me out. It's fine. You can write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. Yeah. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, but we'll let you in.
Yes, sir.
Also, something new that you might be interested in, because we know there's like tons of you on Reddit.
Yeah.
We now have our own subreddit. TGI Atheist is the name of the subreddit.
You guys don't know how hard it is to make a new subreddit. It's impossible. But we managed it. So get down there.
The paperwork.
Get in there and make it successful.
So there'll be show notes and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully lively yet civil.
Civil. Discussion. For God's sake.
That's all we accept around these parts.
That's
people.
Right. Hey, speaking of civility, thanks so much to Mackenzie for her hard work on the Facebook page. Thanks so much to Sarah, Danny, and Amy for their work as moderators of the Members Only Lounge.
And thanks go out to the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston for the use of their music. Go on to iTunes or whatever your podcast listener of choice is, and why not give us a nice little 5-star rating? Also, Dan.
Yeah.
Patreon. Go on over to that campaign, guys.
Yeah, we'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much to everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Bye.